BeetleJuice. BeetleJuice. BeetleJuice.
It's showtime.
LJH crew, what's going on? Thanks for clicking on another edition of the Real LJH Productions. Now, this will be our review on Beetlejuice, the musical, the tour version, which completely hit Broadway. And my, how times change, right? It's 3 years later, and here we are with another review. LJH, back with my beautiful daughter, Faith. And so history has been made. Beetlejuice the musical has officially hit Broadway 3 times. Huh. Beetlejuice, 3 times. That is kind of funny when you think about it, actually. So, first we had it at the Winter Garden Theater. Run was awesome, never got the closing date. Um, and they ended up closing early because of COVID. Months later, it returned to the Marquee, and that's where Faith and I had seen it, was at the Marquee for the first time. Then it went on tour, and then it made its way back around one last time to have one more big run on Broadway, 13 weeks. We saw the tour version in October, and we want to talk about it and compare what we liked about it and who we thought did great performances and the differences between the tour version and the Broadway version, because there are differences, believe it or not. So, the first thing we're going to talk about here, about the tour version, is very, very well done. It was, they couldn't, I mean, these guys have worked so hard on the tour. The cast of this uh, musical on tour worked their asses off. They did such a great job. And when it was announced that they were returning to Broadway, I said to myself, I said, they have to do it. They can't bring back the original cast. As much as everybody would have loved to have the original cast, this cast, from everything I've heard about the tour version before I went, was awesome. And they deserved to be on Broadway and close the show out completely. And they didn't disappoint. They did such a great job. Um, Although there are some differences between Broadway version and tour version, which we're going to get into. So in the tour version, um, Barbara and Alan Maplin's death scene is different. And the reason for that being is when they were on tour, um, there a lot of the smaller venues and theaters that they went to didn't have a what do you call that? A drop stage in the center. So the original planned death scene that they had, they couldn't use because Barbara and Adam could not fall through the floor. So some lyrics and stuff were tweaked for Ready or Not, to accommodate the new death that they came up with, was by electrocution. Now, um, being a fan of the original Broadway show and learning Ready Set the original way, it was hard for like someone like me to sing along and transfer over because I didn't know the lyrics to Ready or Not with the electrocution. However, it's still done great. Faith, what is your opinion? Did you like the drop or did the electrocution better?
I like the drop more because it's more like this has like more like I can explain it, but like it's like the better.
Made it more comical, and where the execution is kind of serious.
Yeah.
So the electrocution is done because in the house you have faulty wiring, where in the tour, excuse me, where in the Broadway show, um, the house is just older and it falls to the floor. Same thing with the other house. It's older and the wiring's faulty, but at the same time, I do think as far as that works, I do think the floor aspect works better. But I understand for the tour versions and for even Beetlejuice Junior, which some schools do, they do use the electrocution. There are videos of them using the floor drop, but they create it their own way, and it's just not as good. So the electrocution makes it easier. Getting to the cast. Now, when Faith and I saw it originally, we had Alex Brightman, Elizabeth Teeter, Carrie Butler, and basically the original Broadway cast. Um, they were great. You can't go wrong with the original cast. However, um, to give a little aspect of how we felt about the tour version cast. So Beetlejuice is played by Justin Cornell. Corlett. I don't want to butcher that too much. And he's very talented. He has done other like ratios of Alex Brightman before. He was on the School of Rock tour, so he's pretty much taken over for Alex Brightman before. Um, his version of how he portrays Beetlejuice is different from Alex Brightman. Um, they're very both good at very improving. They did a Justin does a very good job. And when I was going into this, I was worried that he was going to do an impression of Alex Brightman as Beetlejuice. He did not. He completely made it his own, did his own thing, um, rolled with the punches on his own level, didn't copy anything that Alex Brightman has ever done or anything like that. He did this whole thing where they were in the um, where they're in the attic, and he's talking about the nacho scene with Catherine Hepburn, and he he went off the rail. Like even the two, even Barbara and Adam looked at him on stage like, okay, he dragged that on, but it worked. Like he completely went off the rail, and I don't know if Faith noticed it, but that entire scene with the Catherine Hepburn nachos scene was a lot longer than it should have been. He just added lines to it, so it made it even funnier. That was one of the things that I noticed. Now, Faith, you, um, Alex Brightman, Justin Cornell, both in their own way.
I like Alex Brightman more because I just overall I just love like the like OG cast more because they put more like motion into it, and they just like it's like I don't know, like it's just like I don't know.
I get what you're saying. So, moving on. Uh, Lydia. So this is going to be hard for me. The girl that plays Lydia on tour, her name is Isabella. Um, However, Faith and I didn't get to see Isabella perform. We got to see Madison Mosley, which is her understudy on the tour, and so she was phenomenal. I can't say anything bad about her. I thought she did a great job, and one of the things about Lydia that sticks out in in the musical is her emotions and how she's depressed and how she copes with things. And one of the major things to me on the musical um, that makes you stand out as Lydia is the song Home. You have to make that song believable as possible because that's where all the emotion that Lydia has bottled up comes out is during that song when she finally realizes, hey, I gotta change things around. I'm in another world. Mom's not mom's not here, and all our emotions come out at once. Um, Madison Mosley did a very good job with doing that emotion. However, we saw it with Elizabeth Teeter um, when it did the second run, of course. We did not get to see it with Sophia Ann Caruso or Parsley Ryan. But I've seen clips of everybody, and if I have to compare everybody, in my opinion, of all the Lydias between Sophia and Caruso, which originated the role, Parsley Ryan, which was Sophia's understudy, Elizabeth Teeter, and of course on the tour we saw Madison. If I had to compare my favorite Lydia from all of them, I would honestly tell you mine is Elizabeth Teeter. I felt like she put a lot of emotion into the role, and I just felt like it was just done very well. My second favorite Lydia, like I said, I'm going by just clips on certain things. I would have to say is Parsley Ryan. She brought a lot of fun to the character, and you know, a different kind of emotion. Second, I would say is Madison Mosley, and again, that's because I saw her live. And then I would say Sophia and Caruso. She's my least favorite, and that's only because I'm a fan of her work. I just prefer the other ones better. That's just my opinion. Faith, out of all the clips that you've seen between Sophia and Caruso, Parsley Ryan, same thing. Which Lydia do you prefer? Madison, Elizabeth?
I like Elizabeth first, because she just like puts a lot of emotion into it, and she's just like she becomes her, like, and then what's her name?
Madison Mosley.
Madison mostly is second. Um, she was like JoJo so's good. She just there was something off, and I haven't seen the other two, so
It honestly, it goes by, like I said, the key word Lydia is like, is that song Home. And I get what Faith is saying. With Elizabeth Teeter and Madison Mosley, you felt it. So I think that's what I think she was trying to get at there. Then we have Barbara on the tour, which is played by Megan McGinnis. Now, she does a great job. I think she does an adorable version of Barbara where it's almost like it's in a cute way. Where in the original run, it's the wonderful and talented Carrie Butler. Now, anybody who has seen Carrie Butler in the past, whether it be in BeetleJuice or anything else she's done, and even from the clips I've seen of her off Broadway performance right now in Heathers, she just puts everything into the role that she has. Even if she's on stage for 5 minutes, Carrie Butler just does it. Um, However, Megan McGinless did a very good job with playing Barbara. She put a lot of fun to it, and I think if I had to pick between the two, I do love Carrie, but Megan did an amazing job. And as far as Adam goes, which was played by Will Will Burnton, and the Adam in the original, I don't know his name, and honestly, I didn't think to look it up. Forgive me. But between them, I honestly like William Bunton's version of Adam better than the original Broadway. Um, I just think he did it more fun. It was not more fun. He seemed better at the role, and then we didn't get to see the one at the Winter Garden, which was um can't think of his name either, but he was the star of Mrs. Doubtfire. Wish I had gotten to see him, but can't really compare because you get to see him. But William Bunton's version of Adam, loved.
Um, I think Barbara.
Or on Adam.
Oh, Adam. I don't really know, but I like the
The
like
Adam that you saw the first time.
yeah, but like William Bu- Buxton brought like more, so I like him more.
And then we got into Delia, which was done by Jenna Barber. I can't remember her name for the life of me. Again, terrible at names sometimes. But comparing both Delias, I would say they both did the role similar. But I do feel that Jenna Barber's version of Delia was more of an impression of the original. And I honestly don't think that was her intention, but a good job nonetheless.
Yeah, the same thing. But I think I really like the first cast more.
Charles, I'll say this. The one that we saw originally on Broadway and the Charles on Broadway, Jesse Sharp is his name. Both do Charles to a justice. I mean, there's no comparison. They both do it completely well. There's no Nick. Miss Argentina. Now, she's casted as a separate character in the Beetlejuice tour, where in the original Broadway run, it's played by Delia. So I like that they gave it their own. Delia does a great job, but I do prefer um, Vanessa Sarah. God, if I'm butchering your name and you're watching this, I apologize. But I do think that she did a better job. And it's just, this cast has worked so hard to get where they are. Um, Maxie Dean, who was played by Sharon, who's played by a woman named Sharon Shy. Again, if I'm butchering those names, please forgive me. Um, I had wished that we have gotten to see the Maxie Dean that I wanted to see, but she started a week after we went. But the girl who played Maxie Dean was fun. Faith, what was the girl that played Maxie Dean for that short run? Yeah, we had. I wish we got to see Trisha Paytas because it seemed like she did a lot of fun with the role from all the clips that I saw. But this Maxie Dean was fun. Um, so another couple of things that between tour and regular is this. So what? Um, the house is a big part of the original play, and it's his own character. So they didn't bring back how the house moved on the stage and everything like that. A lot of the ways that they switched scenes, they kind of just closed the curtain and reopened it on the tour version, which again is what they were used to. So they didn't use the original moving stage. For one, they couldn't. The original moving stage is they had shifted to the UK for the Beetlejuice musical that's running over there, but a lot of the lighting, the effects, still the same. It was honest. It's done really well. There's a couple of things I could nitpick, but it's really not worth the nitpick. This cast has worked so hard to get here, and it was really, really fun. My final review, and out of a scale of 1 to 10, how do I compare the tour version going to Broadway compared to the musical that we saw at the Marquee? I would give the tour version um, a solid 8. Where in the past video, which I will find it somewhere, I'll link it up below, of our original review, I believe we gave that like I did given that like a full 10. But I enjoyed this cast. I'm glad they got to finish it off. It was 13 weeks at the Palace Theater in New York, and there's about 2 weeks left. My recommendation is if you haven't gone to see it yet, or even if you've seen it, go. Give this cast the recognition they deserve. Give Beetlejuice the musical the Broadway closure that it deserves. And yeah,
I would give the tour version um a 9, and then the first uh cast a 10.
which is I think what you said in the original video when you go back and put it up there as well. So it's one of those things where it's still fun. It was a lot of no complaints here. But we hope you enjoyed this review. I know we review things kind of differently. It was just we had to do our comparison. But with that being said, guys, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday. There's a few more videos coming up. I have an unboxing that is planned soon, among a review for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, as well as the Toxic Avenger, which I did not get out yet. But we'll see you all real soon. And as they say in the movies, cue the lights.